Hey guys, what's going on? It's Peter and Kenny, and today we are back with another episode of Wax Street Journal. Today we got a very exciting lineup. We're going to be starting the day off with the 2015 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution Final Edition. We have the 2018 McLaren Senna, the 1993 NA Mazda Miata 1.8, and we also have a special edition for you guys today as well. Kenny, you want to go ahead and give a hint as to what it's going to be?
Okay, so the hint for the special edition is something you wouldn't expect Rolls-Royce to do. And it's something that me and Peter are kind of like scratching our heads like, huh? But we'll dive into that later. But first we want to get or dive into these other cars first, the ones that we actually like.
All right, let's go ahead and kick it off with the Lancer Final Edition. So the Final Edition, it's kind of interesting. There were only 1,600 Final Edition models made. Um, and they come in at a MSRP of 37,000 US dollars. Each one comes with a numbered plaque, signifies the end of this venerable con- uh, constant in the four-door sports car market. Really, it's this is it. This is the end of the Evo, and it's kind of sad. But I mean, 10 generations. That's a lot. That from a car model is that's a good run. Um, so some notes about the final edition. The exterior is enhanced. It's got final edition badges all over it. It's got it comes with dark chrome Enki alloy wheels, and they have a glossy black center bumper. All the air outlets and inlets on the front grille are surrounded by a dark chrome and black painted aluminum for the roof. It comes in only four colors. You can get it in pearl white, you can get it in rally red, mercury gray, or the signature octane blue. Um, the uh, final edition has plaques that sit on the center console. And then some of the other enhancements that it also has is a black headliner, black pillars, sun visors, all the assist handles, red stitching accents throughout all the seats, the entire car, um, steering wheel, shift knob, floor mats, e-brake handle. You know what? If they can do it, they did it, and they went balls to the wall with this car. They went totally all out. Under the hood, the final edition has a 2-liter four-cylinder turbocharged. Puts it out at 303 horsepower and 305 foot-pounds of torque. By modern standards, that is, I mean, no means anything too impressive, but it works, and it really gets the job done. The final edition model is spec'd out for the tightest suspension, which is they're using the Super all-wheel control system, and that includes Brembo front brake rotors and the Bilstein shock absorbers and Ibach springs. So the final edition is really packed to be a kick-ass car. Um, they wanted to go all out for their last one, and I think they really executed it beautifully. And the car looks incredible. It's a work of art, really.
Yeah, that's they didn't just, say, oh, goodbye, farewell, sad songs. They're going out with middle fingers, guns blazing. It's like, all right, we're going out with a bang. And the Evo, for it being such a legendary car, a lot of people in the car industry that are in the cars were sad to see it go because for a few years, we didn't really have any kind of sports car for until the FRS and the WRX and maybe another other cars that I probably can't think of right now. But it was a few years until we didn't get those cars, but still those cars can't stand against a Evo, because the Evo was just raw, and the Evo was in your face, and it was a four-wheel drive car, so that itself is quick, and it's also a legendary rally car.
Oh yeah, and it's interesting too because it took the base model of the Lancer, and they were like, hey, check this out. We're gonna make an affordable sports car, and it's funny because you hop in and it's not like Camaros, or it's not like a 911 where it has a button or a toggle where you can switch it to sport mode. It's just raw power all the time. So it's a very interesting concept as far as this goes for how they've been doing things. Because that's how it's been as long as I can remember in the Evo. Um, and then the Evo X, I think, really stormed the market and became an icon very quickly. Um, it's definitely one of the most recognized cars. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, and it didn't have all the fancy technologies that help you go faster like all the other cars do now. It was still a driver operated car,
Oh yeah,
rather than just
it's one of those cars that really puts the driver to the test, and it's the power steering system that they used in it's actually very it's insane, um, especially considering how little relatively this car costs. The best comparison is the only way that you can get more control as far as for steering goes is if you were literally holding the tie rods in your hands. So it's pretty impressive.
one thing I've heard about the Evos. One bad thing I've heard is the clutches are heavy,
Yeah.
and they're not that forgiving.
No.
And
one of the things that they said too is especially for the Evo is the clutch has it's essentially it's guillotine precision, where it just drops in with that certainty that if you up, you're coming out in the bad end.
you're doomed.
All right, so let's move on to the Senna. You want to go ahead and kick that one off? As this is kind of your thing right now.
Oh boy, yes. So the McLaren Senna is the predecessor to the legendary McLaren P1, which is one of the hypercars that you would think of when you think hypercar, against the LaFerrari, or maybe the Zenvo, or the Rimac, or a Koenigsegg. And not only is just another hypercar, this is a special hypercar, as if it was a tribute to legendary F1 Formula One driver Ayrton Senna, who was a 30, I want to say 36, I might be wrong, but 36 time winning champion, 36 championships, who came to his untimely death in 1994 during his Monaco GP practice runs. And this car was special because Senna actually raced for McLaren for a good while, for a good percentage of his racing career. So they really took their next hypercar and went all out, went the extra mile, and really dove into aerodynamics. And the specs on this car is extremely impressive numbers. And some people might think, oh, it's not enough. A Koenigsegg can do this. LaFerrari can do that. But this car can do a lot. It is a 4-liter V8, which is that's impressive to me. And
especially being that it's competing with naturally aspirated Koenigseggs that are putting out 1,800 horsepower. It's a new turn. It's definitely something, because I know that they ended up going with a new engine for the Senna. I think it was the M840TR they decided to use, which was I think it's like 243 cubic inch. So it's a relatively smaller engine as far as for supercars goes. And then I think I want to say the little bit bigger actually, especially being a track car. Its wheelbase is 105.1 inches, and the overall length of the car is 186 inches. So it's a pretty long car, um, but it I think they worked all that in just because they had the additive of all the aerodynamics. I mean, you have all the scoops, that massive rear wing, and the way that they executed it's a beautiful car. It really is. I think they kind of outdid themselves this time.
And a lot of the air holes and everything else is not just there for just coolness. Each aerodynamic hole has a reason for being there, whether it be downforce or engine cooling. It's
Yeah,
there for a reason. It's not just there for aesthetics.
yeah, definitely. And then I think so far this has actually been I want to say it's McLaren's fastest track car as it stands right now. I think it's up there with the P1 GTR even. So, what do you think about the body styling?
The body styling, mm, I mean, it's kind of like a wide body 720S.
Yeah,
Because I mean, it has the front end of a 720S. You can kind of see the resemblance of a 720S rear end on the center, but yet it's still different.
and this is one thing that McLaren's actually had a lot of problems with. Not so much recently. Well, actually, yes, recently too. But if you remember back in 2012 when they had the MP4s, they all looked pretty much the same. And then even as they started to come out with like the 675 long tail, in the front it resembles the P1, in the back it resembles the MPs, and I'm not sure why they didn't just create a totally unique looking car for this, but I think they could have executed it better. Overall, it's not a bad looking car. I like it, but yeah,
And
they could have made it something unique, definitely.
and I think McLaren really stepped their game up because back in 2012, I've heard that the doors wouldn't open on the MP4
Yeah, they
12Cs.
they were having problems with that too.
Yeah, it wouldn't start.
Yeah,
A lot of things didn't work, and then now over the years that they learned from the MP4s, they adapted to what they learned to their newer cars, and it appears that their newer cars are doing a lot well. And I can't wait to see the McLaren Senna in action. I'm pretty sure it's gonna run you up about in the million range because I don't think they're gonna make that many.
no, no,
Again, it's
no, not at all.
yeah.
All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the MX-5. Today we are looking at the 1993 MX-5 1.8i. The 93 Miata is obviously it's a two-door cabriolet, front-mounted engine, nothing surprising. Um, Coming in at only 132 brake horsepower. That's it's pretty small considering how big of a following that the Miata has. And now I believe personally that the Miata is so popular just because it's so easy to work with. They did make the engine bay bigger than what the stock engine actually needed. So that just opens up a whole world of customization options and things that you can do. I know one of the biggest things that people do is they swap the engine to a LS7 or a 2J. I did see the other day. I saw a 4-rotor swapped Miata, and it was wow. The thing flew. To say the least.
A four-rotor and a Miata would sound delicious. And to add on to the following of the Miata, the car is so popular, it has its own class in autosport racing, or as a yeah, so autosport. It has its own class in motorsport,
Yeah,
and it's also just like a nimble fun car. Like you can say, oh, it's slow, it makes its numbers, but once you get in it, you won't realize it's a slow car
Oh
because
yeah.
it's small, it's compact, yet it's fun, and you can just whip it around and no consequences.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Acceleration, it does uh, 0 to 60 in 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds. I mean that's not bad considering it's only 132 horsepower, but at the same time, it's for the class that Mazda wanted it to be in, it's kind of. The 0 to 100. This is kilometers. 0 to 100. It's 10.6. Still not. I mean, not bad, but from 0 to 60 to 0 to 100, it jumps up 4 point. I think it's like 4.5 seconds, and that's eh.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. Standing quarter mile 17.5 seconds. That's pretty slow. But I don't think the intent for most Miatas is to be used as a drag car. So
Yeah, just gonna use it as a drift missile
yeah.
or a just a weekend race car.
In the end, though, Mazda Miata is definitely higher up there on my list. Yeah, it's called a hairdresser's car. Yeah, it's called this. It's called that. But in the end, it comes down to passion for the sport, and it's one of the most highly customized cars. It's and personally, I don't think that Mazda even had any anticipation that this is how widely used the car would be.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
All right, so moving on, let's dig into our special for today. So the special, it's cars named after the world's largest uncut diamond. It's a goofy looking car, and I personally don't believe that it should be or it should have been made. And the car that I just described to you is the Rolls-Royce Cullinan. Um, 6.75 liter V12, same engine that they used in the Phantom, and honestly, it looks like a big Phantom.
Basically,
Yeah.
it's like they took a maybe I want to say like a maybe a body of a Touareg or maybe another SUV and just tacked on the front end of a Phantom, just like
It looks more like they took a Rolls Royce, made it box or not Rolls Royce. It looks like they took a Range Rover and made it boxy.
looks
I
like
don't
a
know.
jelly bean.
It does look like a jelly bean. So some facts. The Cullinan is quite honestly, it's the most posh 4x4 out there. I don't. Rolls Royce is very against people calling it an SUV, and they don't want it to be branded as an SUV, so they're calling it a 4x4. Not. I
Does
don't.
it call it that? They call it a high-bodied vehicle.
Yeah, and I don't feel that anybody who's buying one is going to be off-roading anytime soon in it.
Yeah.
Rolls Royce actually said that if you want, or that they suggested the first thing that you should do after you buy the Cullinan is you should take it to go sandboarding. It's really and I don't know. With a car like that, I don't think many people are really going to be off-roading in it. The
Honestly, I don't think the people who will buy a Cullinan are gonna actually think about taking it off road because either it's like, oh, that's dirty, that's filthy, or that's like because maybe the parts on the Cullinan might be astronomical prices, so I can kind of see why. But then again, if you buy a Cullinan, you 9 times out of 10 you're not gonna go off roading. You're gonna drive around Beverly Hills or Rodeo Drive and show everybody off that you got money. No.
trim, not a huge fan. They decided to go with silver trims on the doors or on the windows. and the wings, and this was all to try and disguise the colossal size. But honestly, I just think it makes it more prominent. Like, hey, look at me, I'm big. Um, and they didn't really hide its size as well as Bentley did with the Bentayga, or Mercedes did with the G-Class, because those are both massive cars, but the styling and the way that they executed it, it doesn't look as big as it really is. But the other thing about the G-Class too is it pulls off that boxy look a lot better than the Cullinan. The Cullinan, it kind of looks like they wanted to make it boxy, but after they saw how it would look boxy, they said scratch the idea, use the same frame, and just rounded out the corners, which in my opinion looks kind of ugly.
I honestly feel like it looks just a little bit dated. Maybe it's
It
just because
does.
of the gray bottom will kind of just give it away for me. But it's just that it looks dated. It would look more reasonable if it came out maybe like 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
But
Another interesting thing about the Cullinan is it will actually, as soon as you touch one of the door handles, it will lower itself down like a bus would, to make it easier for you to get in, which I just feel like that's, something else that can go wrong.
that sounds expensive.
It
If
does.
that breaks,
Yeah.
that sounds expensive.
Something more to just go wrong really is all I see with that. And that's really all I got for the Cullinan. Not too impressed. Didn't personally, I would probably rate it a 30 out of a 50, maybe
Yeah.
a 28, 29.
I'll give it a 30 out of 50 because I mean, it's a their attempt at making a luxury truck to compete with Bentayga and the G wagon and possibly the new X7 that's coming out.
Yeah.
But it's kind of just it just doesn't to me it just doesn't look that appealing, and it's just I would rather have a G wagon or a
Oh
Bentayga
yeah.
than this. In
Honestly,
my
if I saw one of these out on the street, I wouldn't think that it's anything special. Because looking at it, it looks like an Infinity. It looks like honestly, it looks like Chrysler tried to take a 300C and make it into an SUV.
yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's big like a Phantom because it was built on the Phantom platform.
Yeah.
But I mean, it has the characteristics of a Phantom, which is cool, I guess, if you're trying to make an off-road vehicle compared to a rolling boat. But
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't choose this truck to off-road with. I would probably either choose G-Wagon or a Jeep or a Range Rover Defender or just a supercharged one. But a Cullinan would be my last choice to pick for a luxury SUV.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. All right, guys, that's all we got time for today. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to give us a like, comment, hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you guys next week. Thanks for watching.